something for me, man. Nigga, you know me, man. Something like Kobe, Mr. 19-5. I still scream that squad up. I fuck with SB and them. Call 2Gs, you know I'm coming back for y'all niggas, man. Graveyard season, West Block, Marlow, so gifted, y'all better check my gifted. Cause y'all niggas snitching, can't be getting the lies. Niggas trying to pump me away, what the fuck is that? Can't believe my niggas still selling crack, that's whack. 19-5 like Rondos, I'm here for the jewels and the fundles. Niggas trying to erase me, but none of y'all niggas can't take me. Must mind, niggas better shape me. I skrill, not take me. My life is like a movie, so check the script. This is like Martin Luther shit.